None of us could believe it when the boy, David, told the king, no thanks. How does a novice tell a veteran that his equipment is substandard? You see, the thing that was even worse than this boy saying no thanks to the king, the thing that was far worse was that the accomplished warrior let him say no thanks. He just left the no thanks out there. He let the boy walk away. How irresponsible. How can a veteran allow a novice to go out totally to be at the whim of a giant? Or as you might say, go figure. Well, maybe Saul. See, Saul's mind was so twisted. Someone said that Saul let that David go out there because if David died, it would be all right. He could just be a sacrifice. He could be some kind of child sacrifice to appease an angry God for what was going on, and everything would work out. But that didn't make too much sense to me. I didn't say it to the others. It didn't make too much sense to me. Maybe what was happening was that it was a matter of trying to disarm that Philistine. Outsmarting him by what you all might call ego management. You all might see it as ego management, but the basic idea was kind of exactly the way things panned out. That when this inexperienced boy would show up, then the accomplished warrior, this giant would see him, would think the boy was beneath him, an unworthy opponent, and he would therefore let his guard down, expose his own vulnerability, and eventually be defeated by his own ego. What Saul didn't get, maybe you all will catch on to. In fact, the more I think about it, I think that kid, that lad who went out to face the Philistine, I think he kind of caught on. But what Saul didn't get is that maybe you don't come from the pedigree of choice in the eyes of others. Maybe you don't have the right credentials in the eyes of others. Maybe in the eyes of others, you are the one at some disadvantage because you're coming in at the place you are. In ministry, I think I heard that this is, maybe. But regardless of those things, your limitations will exist, yes, they will exist. But becoming comfortable, accepting your own limitation, accepting your own vulnerability is really the key to being able to face any giant. But that David, I'm telling you, the more I think about that, David got it. And so the more I think about it now, after the fact, I think maybe his no thanks was because he was comfortable with his vulnerability. Maybe his no thanks was because he could live in his own skin. Maybe he didn't have to become somebody else in order to be who God called him to be. This story has gotten around. And so because it's gotten around, maybe you have ultimately figured out that the weakness of God is greater than human strength. And when you can embrace your own weakness, you'll be strong enough to minister in the name above all names. Embrace it and minister. For when you do, the giants will come down.